You only see the bad. You see Portland and Chicago, and you see what's happened in New York just in a very short period of time. It's horrible what's happened in New York. I love New York. I come from New York. And when I see 4 years ago, I left, and I could see that it was problems under this mayor. He's a terrible mayor, one of the worst. I can't say the worst. I mean, I've witnessed Portland. Hard to top him. But he's certainly one of the worst. And when I look at what's happening in New York, and I look at what's happening in the city, and so quickly, it happens so quickly, it's a shame.
Các bạn đang nghe buổi họp báo của Tổng thống Trump tại Nhà Trắng vào ngày 31 tháng 8.
Give them control over every lever of power in the United States government. But when you surrender to the mob, you don't get freedom, you get fascism. That's what happens in all cases. You take a look at Venezuela, look what's gone on there and other places. Biden is using mafia talking points. The mob will leave you alone if you give them what you want. That's what it is. The mob will leave you alone, give them what you want, but it doesn't work that way, because once you give them, they keep taking. What happens is you give and give and give, and you take, and they no longer respect you. And that's what's happened with the Democrats, because I actually think they've lost control of these radical left maniacs. I think they've lost control, because I don't think they feel that's helping them when New York and Chicago and Portland and you look at Oakland and you look at Baltimore and you look at so many different places and what's going on there. The top 10 are all run by Democrats. And you can go.
Các bạn coi những cái tiểu bang New York, Portland, Oregon, những cái tiểu bang mà do đảng Dân Chủ điều hành thì nó xảy ra những cái tình trạng bạo lực cũng như biểu tình bạo lực.
Refusing to enforce the law and put the rioters in jail. These are rioters. These are dangerous people. These are killers. They kill a lot of people. And they don't even think about it. They wake up the next morning. They don't even think about it. This is the extreme left's agenda for America. They want to appoint radical prosecutors, judges, and federal officials who will set criminals free. Their stated plan is to cut police funding, abolish cash bail, close down prisons, re-educate our children, preach left-wing social justice, establish a national sanctuary for criminal illegal aliens, and abolish the death penalty, even for cop killers. No one will be safe, and in fact, they want very much to let people in prison, like as an example, the Boston bomber. They want to let everybody vote. If you're in prison, if you're the Boston bomber, they want you to have a vote. I don't know. I don't think that sells too well. My administration is a very different approach. We want states to work with us to deploy the National Guard to quell the unrest. All they have to do is call us. We will have the National Guard. We're prepared. We're ready to go no matter where they may call from. Any part of the country, East Coast, West Coast, doesn't matter. We're ready to move immediately, as we did in Minneapolis, we are ready to move as quickly as you can imagine. Tomorrow I'm going to a place where we move very quickly. You know that, in Wisconsin, and we move very, very quickly. And as soon as we moved, that was the end of that. It was very well behaved. I'll appoint more toughened crime prosecutors, support stiffer penalties and longer jail terms for rioters, and support effective policing methods that are proven to be great crime reducers. When you enforce the law, order follows, and we need order. We need order. You can't have cities run like these.
Chúng ta cần một xã hội trật tự. Chúng ta không để cho những người biểu tình hỗn loạn.
As you know, they have to ask, unless we go a much tougher route, which we could, but you don't like to do that. They have to ask you to come in. When they ask me to come in, we'll be there within a matter of minutes. When I signed the executive order outlining 10-year prison sentences as an example.
Khi mà ví dụ như mà tôi đưa ra một cái lệnh là phạt tù 10 năm tù đối với những ai mà tháo gỡ những cái tượng của những vị lãnh đạo trước.
about that time.
thì tôi ra lệnh là sẽ phạt 10 năm tù, thì bây giờ không ai dám làm điều đó nữa.
They said 10 years is too long. Before the outbreak of left-wing extremism, our strategy produced a historic reduction in violent crime in the last 2 years of the Obama administration. Murder increased 30% in major
Dưới thời của Tổng thống Obama thì những cái tình trạng bạo lực giết người thì tỷ lệ rất là cao.
In the first 2 years of my presidency, the number of murders
Dưới cái thời của tôi, đầu 2 năm đầu thì cái tình trạng giết người bạo lực nó giảm hơn rất là nhiều.
Plagued by violent crime, and we did a lot of it. We did a lot of it very quietly, but we did a lot. Since the beginning of Operation Legend, we have conducted more than 1,000 arrests and reduced the murder rate in Kansas City, which is one of the cities we targeted, by 1/3, cut it down 33%. In the last month alone, we cut the murder rate in Chicago in half. People don't know that, but we sent them in to Chicago without fanfare at all, but we cut it down in half. It's still far too high. And if they'd asked for full help, as opposed to just sending in some very talented people, we'd be able to cut it down to a very low number. While I am president, we will defend the rights of law-abiding citizens. We will honor the heroes who keep America safe, and we do. We honor our
Dưới thời của tôi thì là tôn trọng những người thực thi pháp luật.
Most every law enforcement group in the country that I can think of, the sheriffs in Florida, all of them, law enforcement Ohio and Texas, North Carolina. I mean, almost no matter where you look, I think I've gotten all of it. We'll have to do a little study so I'm totally accurate, but I would say all of it. And the ones who didn't, I think we have to look at them. Where do they come from? So we've done a real job. We're ready, willing, and able to help these Democrat-run cities that are doing poorly. They have to call and ask. All they have to do is call. They don't even have to put it in writing. We'll put it in writing later. We'll get them in there, and we'll straighten out the city very quickly, whichever city we may be talking about. So those governors that are responsible for a state that has a city that's got a lot of problems, call me, or the mayor can call me, and we'll be there very quickly. Tomorrow we're making that trip to Wisconsin. I think
Tôi sẽ đến những cái tiểu bang để giải quyết những vấn đề.
Should be very interesting, but we're proud of it because in 6 days it's been like a different world, and it took place immediately. As soon as we surged, as soon as we went in, it took place immediately. Okay, please, thank you.
Bây giờ các bạn có thể đặt câu hỏi.
Did you give any consideration to the governor and mayor's request not to come to Kenosha tomorrow?
No, because Kenosha was something we did a good job on. The governor didn't want us there. He didn't want the National Guard, as you know. He was very reluctant, but I give him credit because ultimately he said yes, and as soon as he said yes, the problem ended. But I have to see the people that did such a good job for me, and we're meeting with numerous people, and we have tremendous support in the state of Wisconsin, so I promise them when it all gets taken care of, we'll...
Concerns, though, that it could exacerbate tensions and increase violence. Do you give any consideration
Well,
to
it
that?
could also increase enthusiasm, and it could increase love and respect for our country. And that's why I'm going, because they did a fantastic job. As soon as I called and told them, let's go, the whole problem stopped. That was, what, 6 days ago? Yeah, Jeff?
Mr. President, why are you not meeting with the family of Jacob Blake while you're there?
Thưa Tổng thống, tại sao ông không có cuộc gặp mà với nạn nhân của nạn nhân là gia đình của nạn nhân ông Jacobs?
Anything where there are lawyers involved. They wanted me to speak, but they wanted to have lawyers involved, and I thought that was inappropriate, so I didn't do that.
Gia đình họ muốn có có những cái liên quan đến về những cái truyền tục về luật sư, nên tôi không muốn liên quan đến cái vấn đề đó.
They did have a lawyer that wanted to be on the phone, and I said, no, that's inappropriate, but I just gave my best regards. But again, I spoke with the pastor.
On coronavirus, but first, you were just criticizing Joe Biden, saying he didn't mention the far left or Antifa. During his speech today, you said you wanted to talk about left-wing political violence.
Yeah.
But I noticed you did not mention that your supporters were also in Portland this weekend, firing paintball gun at people, some form of pepper spray. So do you want to also take this chance to condemn what your supporters did in
Well, I
Portland?
understand they had large numbers of people that were supporters, but that was a peaceful protest. And paint is not, and paint is a defensive mechanism. Paint is not bullets. Your supporters, and they are your supporters indeed, shot a young gentleman who and killed him, not with paint, but with a bullet. And I think it's disgraceful. These people, they protested peacefully. They went in very peacefully.
Tổng thống nghĩ gì về cái vụ bắn chết người mà những người ủng hộ cuộc diễu hành ủng hộ ông hôm qua ở Oregon?
And they see a city like Chicago where 78 people were shot and 13 died, or a city like New York where the crime rate has gone through the roof, or a city like Portland where the entire city is ablaze all the time, and a mayor says we don't want any help from the federal government. When these people turn that on and they see that, they say, this is not our country. This is not our country. That was a peaceful protest, totally.
It was a supporter of yours,
Go
Mr.
ahead.
President.
Yeah, go ahead.
It was a supporter of yours, Mr. President.
Go ahead.
It was a supporter of yours, Mr. President, who killed someone who is accused of killing two people. It was a supporter of yours.
Saying, are you going to condemn the actions of vigilantes like Kyle Rittenhouse?
We're looking at all of it. That was an interesting situation. You saw the same tape as I saw, and he was trying to get away from them, I guess, looks like, and he fell, and then they very violently attacked him, and it was something that we're looking at right now, and it's under investigation, but I guess he was in very big trouble. He would have been, he probably would have been killed, but it's under investigation.
Do you think private citizens should be taking guns?
I'd like to see law enforcement take care of everything. I think everything should be taken care of law enforcement. But again, we have to give our cops back, our police back their dignity, the respect. They're very talented people. They're strong. They're tough. They can do the job. But we've taken it away. We don't want to have, when somebody makes a mistake, he chokes. Or in some cases, you have bad cops. We have to take care of them. In other cases, they choke. They have a quarter of a second to make a decision. And sometimes they make the wrong decision. If they make the wrong decision, if they make the wrong decision in the other direction, they're probably dead. So they choke sometimes. And that goes on the evening news for weeks. And the thousands and tens of thousands of great things they do, nobody covers that. Nobody writes about that. Very tough on bad.
Cho anh biết là có cảnh sát tốt và có cảnh sát xấu, mà cảnh sát tốt, những người cảnh sát tốt đã làm biết bao nhiêu việc, thì cũng có một số là cảnh sát xấu, thì chúng ta vẫn phải tôn trọng những người làm và cần duy trì những lực lượng cảnh sát để bảo vệ. Nếu mà những cái xác nào xấu mà làm những cái việc không đúng thì chúng ta cũng có những cái biện pháp để trừng phạt.
We have to stop this horrible left-wing ideology that seems to be permeating our country. And basically it's weakness. It's weakness on behalf of Democrat politicians and Republicans. We don't have problems. You take a look at our cities. Our cities are doing very well. They're safe. They're secure. I spent a lot of time in Texas, as you know, just a couple of days ago, and I was with the governor of Texas, Greg.
Như các bạn có thấy là các tiểu bang mà dưới sự điều hành của Đảng Cộng Hòa thì rất là an toàn. Cảm ơn các bạn đã theo dõi. Tổng thống Trung đã kết thúc cuộc họp ngày đầu tuần thứ hai nha các bạn. Cảm ơn các bạn đã theo dõi.